Wondering how much aid the EU has provided to Ukraine? These are the facts. 135 billion euro. Remember this figure. Since day one of Russia's full-scale invasion, the EU and its member states have been Ukraine's strongest supporters. In fact, this happens to be the largest aid operation in EU history. 2/3 of the assistance have been provided as grants or in-kind support, and 1/3 in the form of highly concessional loans. And here's how the money from the EU and its member states has been allocated. First, there's the military assistance. At 49 billion euro, military aid accounts for over 1/3 of the total package. The funding provides Ukraine's armed forces with equipment, weapons and ammunition, helping the country defend itself against Russia. Meanwhile, over 70,000 Ukrainian soldiers have been trained through the EU military assistance mission. Second, the emergency relief, which goes to the fast-track delivery of medical supplies, food and shelter to Ukrainians who need them most. To put things into perspective, the UN believes that around 13 million people will still need humanitarian assistance in 2025. And also, rebuilding Ukraine. The EU is helping restore electricity, heating and water, while rebuilding schools, hospitals and critical infrastructure damaged by Russia. Large-scale loans and grants ensure that wages and pensions are paid and public services remain operational. Finally, the EU has provided a lifeline for Ukraine's economy and local businesses. Third, supporting refugees. The EU has welcomed more than 4 million Ukrainians fleeing the war, providing protection and assistance to rebuild their lives. And finally, another 1.5 billion euro generated from proceeds of Russian immobilized assets are being used to support Ukraine. Even in the midst of war, Ukraine is pushing forward with key reforms, preparing it for EU accession. The EU stands with Ukraine every step of the way.